I'm forward meteorologist Kim Adams. Well, temperatures are already into the mid to upper 80s, and we are not done there. I'll have the hot forecast coming up.
Also first at 4, Metro Detroit honors fallen American heroes with pomp, parades, and a special flyover in one Macomb County town. A deadly hit and run leads to an all-out search for a suspect who tried to run away from police. We're going to talk about the technology that found his hiding spot. And we will get you caught up on that debt ceiling deal that might prevent a financial crisis. What's in it and what happens next? First at 4 starts now.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
That breaking news is in downtown Detroit. The southbound Lodge Freeway just reopened in the past 15 minutes after being closed for an investigation. As you can see, traffic is once again moving freely, but just a few minutes ago, this was the scene. We don't have many details, but Michigan State Police say they were asked by Detroit police to look for a possible crime scene on the freeway. They were looking on the southbound side by Grand River. We're still working this story. We'll bring you more information as we get some updates. It is the second incident on the Lodge today. Part of M10 was shut down this morning to investigate a shooting. Michigan State Police report a driver called to say his car was hit by gunfire on the northbound Lodge between Linwood and Livernois. Now, luckily, he was not hit, but police did find several shell casings on the road. The suspect's vehicle was only described as a dark sedan, so not much to work on there. The investigation continues. Well, most of you are probably enjoying the end of the Memorial Day weekend with lots of remembering, relaxing, and spending some time with family and friends. And we do know hundreds of you may have spent time at holiday events like this parade in Dearborn. It is the oldest in the state, starting 97 years ago. Now, on the right side, you've been looking at people enjoying some downtime over in Westland. It's been definitely a really gorgeous, great long weekend when it comes to weather. So that weather has been pretty picture perfect, but we will see an ozone action day tomorrow. Forewarned meteorologist Kim Adams has the latest in your first forecast. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Karen. Well, we are definitely getting some warmer temperatures this week, which does affect the air quality. 87 right now in downtown Detroit, 81 in Mount Clemens, low to mid 80s in Pontiac, Howell, and also in Ann Arbor. It's warmer today than it was yesterday by about 3 to 5 degrees. So not a whole lot warmer, but definitely each and every day getting warmer and warmer. So if you're out and about this evening, finishing up your barbecues, or if you're going out tonight, temperatures will stay in the upper 70s to right around 80 degrees by 8 o'clock. But then temps do fall out by midnight tonight. We do hit 90 this week, and I'll tell you which day that is. Also, we know it has to come to an end. I'll tell you when our next chance for rain will be coming up.
All right, thank you, Kim. Now, we have seen some really nasty crashes over the holiday weekend. Investigators are looking for answers after this deadly wrong-way collision on the Southfield Freeway. It happened along northbound M39 near Ford Road. The Southfield was closed for hours. State police say the black Nissan SUV was heading southbound when it smashed into a red Cadillac heading north. Within the last 30 minutes, we did just confirm the driver of the Cadillac is back home after receiving medical care. However, the passenger in that vehicle is in critical condition at this hour and also undergoing surgery. Autopsy results are pending for the 31-year-old woman who caused that crash. Police in Sumter Township say they used a drone unit to find a suspect in a deadly hit-and-run crash. It all started Sunday night on Sumter Road near Willow Road when a bunch of people were leaving a party and an erratic driver just plowed into 2 women. One died. The other is in critical condition. The driver ran away, but the Monroe County Sheriff's Department brought in a drone and also some infrared technology to find him in a wooded area a few hours later. The 43-year-old Detroit man was arrested and is waiting to be arraigned. Well, in case you missed it over the weekend, there is a debt ceiling deal, but now lawmakers still have to get it done. Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is already back on Capitol Hill getting ready to sell that agreement to his party, which controls the House of Representatives. McCarthy told reporters he's ready to get down to work. Kimberly Gill joins us now with a closer look at what's in the bill, and there still really is a lot of work to be done on this.
Yeah, there is, and good afternoon to you, Karen. It took intense negotiations to get this far, and now both Speaker McCarthy and President Joe Biden need to convince, cajole, and twist arms as needed to get the deal through Congress and stop the government from defaulting on its bills. Here are some of the highlights from the 99-page bill. The agreement would suspend the nation's debt limit through 2025 to avoid a similar situation until after after the next presidential election. It would keep non-defense spending roughly flat in 2024 and increase it by just 1% in 2025. It also expands some work requirements for SNAP programs until 2030, which was a big priority for Republicans. And it also claws back $30 billion in unspent COVID funding. The bill funds veterans' medical care and keeps student debt relief, which has been a priority for the president and Democrats. The House is expected to vote on Wednesday, but the clock is still ticking. The government could run out of money to pay all of its bills by June 5th, which is 1 week from today. So more conservative Republicans and more progressive Democrats have started sharing their concerns, which is to be expected, of course, with any compromise. So, Karen, the big question, will enough lawmakers get together to pass the bill in time? We'll be watching all week. For now, we'll send it back to you, though.
All right, and we'll check back with you at 5. Thanks, Kim. All right, a massive search and rescue operation is underway right now over in Davenport, Iowa, after a 6-story apartment building partially collapsed. First responders have pulled at least 8 injured residents from the debris. Dozens more escaped on their own. Right now, rescuers are racing against the clock and say time is running out for anyone who's buried beneath that rubble.
At this time, the building is structurally unsound, is posing a risk to responders, and we are actively working for the best course of action for the building.
The cause of the collapse is unclear, but we are told repairs were underway on the exterior brick walls of the building. As of right now, there's no way to know if the construction work and the building collapse are connected. President Biden leads the nation's tributes to fallen American heroes on this Memorial Day. He was at Arlington National Cemetery for a ceremony this morning. The president and first lady laid a wreath-laying memorial that also included Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. He thanked military families for their sacrifices, also offered his deepest sympathies for those who've lost loved ones. The president talked about why those sacrifices are so important.
We're the only nation in the world built on an idea that we're all created equal. We haven't always lived up to it, but we've never walked away from it. And today, standing together to honor those Americans who dared all and gave all for our nation, we can say clearly, we never will.
Memorial Day ceremonies have been held at Arlington National Cemetery since way back in 1868. Now, the ceremony in Washington, D.C. is just one of thousands of events held all across the country, including several parades and remembrances right here in Metro Detroit. Earlier, we showed you the parade over in Dearborn, and now we head over to Sterling Heights. Local 4's Rob Maloney shows us how organizers added something special to this tradition this year.
Yes, in the United States, we have many communities with hundreds of years of Memorial Day parades tradition. Here in Sterling Heights, it's fairly new. This is their 44th annual. They went with something very old, tried to go for the new, but something very special. The first flyover with the Tuskegee Airmen Museum. The memory of the World War II Tuskegee Airmen is one cherished here in Detroit, as they often trained here. They flew what they called the Red Tail Mustangs, bomber escort planes they used to prove that black pilots could not only fly, but do so successfully on an unprecedented scale. Larry Sargent runs the museum and served as Grand Marshal at today's parade.
When they saw those Red Tails, because a lot of the other pilots didn't know who these guys were because they was their own entity. They was their own private air force over there in Romatelli, Italy. And nobody knew they was there. And so all they saw was P-51s with red tails. And then when they finally found out that these was black pilots, they was absolutely shocked. And they was the best in the business.
The very old tradition is the Sterling Heights-based 1st Michigan Colonial Fife and Drum Corps. Turns out, as founder Mark Logston tells us, there was a very important reason for this kind of traditional music played in George Washington's day.
We speak for the dead. We speak for the Rev War guys who had to play fifes and drums in order to regulate the regiment's movements, in order to save lives. Drumming and fifing was used to signal the troops on what to do, when to do it, and how to do it.
Of course, the parade route lined with children, so there was a lot of entertainment like clowns, bands, and crazy little cars like, in this case, miniature Plymouth Prowler replicas. The patriotic clothing and flags were everywhere, as parents like Lindsay Veenhui look to pass along the tradition.
Well, my oldest is in kindergarten, so I mean, she's just kind of learning about, what patriotic is. But I think it's really important to get them out here to see everybody out here, embracing what it is for Memorial Day.
For them to understand where their freedoms come from and their everyday life is backed by something. That's important.
They had a theme this year of victory through unity. And you can see many of the parents wanted to make sure that the next generation knows that that does mean something in the scheme of things. In Sterling Heights, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Rod. And by the way, tonight at 5, we're going to take you to that parade over in Dearborn to hear from a veteran on what this holiday means to him. We'll have more to come in about 60 minutes.